On this episode of the Bronze Metalist podcast, we talk about Brain Damage by Vendetta.
Wow.
Everyone, welcome to another episode of the Bronze Metalist podcast. I'm Kayle.
I'm OJ.
We're two professional broadcasters. We like metal and we like to talk about it. And today we're going back to 1988.
Correct.
For a album from a German thrash metal band called Vendetta. The album's called Brain Damage. Has nothing to do with the half of that one Pink Floyd song.
It does not. You're correct.
It is instead its own thing.
Right. These guys are not much like Pink Floyd at all.
Although I was kind of surprised at how, noodly has a semi-negative connotation to it, I feel.
Yeah.
But how sort of, how much they would let themselves wander on this album.
It's progressive thrash.
Yeah, in a way that I really dug. I really appreciated.
Yeah.
All of the different little musical cul-de-sacs they would take.
Yeah, and different elements.
Yes.
Stuff that's not, they experimented quite a bit.
Yeah. The fucking bass on this album, too.
He's the only, by the way, the band is together now. They just put out an album recently. Yeah. He's the only original member left.
The bassist is that doesn't happen a lot.
No.
Where the bassist is the only original guy left.
Right.
But we'll talk more about Vendetta in a bit. First, how are you?
I'm doing damn good.
That's good. What did you do with your weekend and your time?
My weekend and my time. What did I do this past weekend? What the hell did I do? Bethany was in town.
Oh, okay.
And so we went. It was her 30-year class reunion. I missed mine. I skipped mine, but hers was there, and she you should come to the reunion. And I pre-gamed a bit.
You should come to this reunion for a class you weren't in.
Right, exactly. But it was at the pool hall. It was downtown. Okay. It wasn't like at some rented room or anything. Okay. I didn't crash. I went to the pool hall, and I knew most of the people there.
Yeah. I mean, it's Minot.
Yeah.
We're a relatively big town, but like still,
right?
The high school system, you're gonna know some people.
Yep,
inevitably. So how did that go?
It went pretty good. Like I said, I pre-gamed. I may have over pre-gamed.
That happens.
Yeah, and luckily I had a driver.
There you go.
So it's all fuzzy, but I remember it being fun.
I remember it being fun.
Yes.
But it's all Speaking of fuzzy things, you were in charge of taking care of my violent little fuzzy thing.
He's talking about his cat.
Yes, my cat. For some reason, I thought violent would guard the statement from innuendo, but apparently not.
That just makes it worse.
Yeah, I guess. You were in charge of taking care of my cat while I was out of town.
I was, and it was fun. Your cat did not behave in a different manner toward me than when you were here.
Yeah.
Largely indifferent, occasionally noticing me. Actually, at one point, I sat because I hadn't seen your cat like 24 hours. And I thought, well, she needs company or whatever. All mammals kind of need that at some point. And so I sat down on your couch and she stretched out in front of me and got it in her back. And I'm like, oh yeah, you go scratches on your belly. There you go. And
I'm surprised she let you get away with that for any amount of time.
She got sick of it fairly quickly. I'm like, all right, I'm out of here.
Yeah, she doesn't even really let me touch her belly all that much. I don't care, and I do it anyway. But I'm glad that she, was at least indifferent to you and not actively hostile. Not that she's ever been actively hostile towards you.
No.
You have been, since the moment I got here, you have been here at least once a week.
Usually twice.
Yeah. So like if there is a single person on this planet that she could tolerate as much as me, it's you. And she still doesn't even particularly care for you.
No, not at all.
It is semi-shocking to me how antisocial she tends to be. Though that being said, like she likes me. Like she cuddles with me. She's perfectly, you know, not perfectly fine with me, but like 'cause she's definitely willing to bite me. But like she's a lot friendlier to me.
Right, she's a monogamous cat.
I have known like some people's cats who just hide constantly. They're never seen. Like she doesn't really run and hide when people show up. She's like, this is my space and I'm going to be out in my space. And if you come up to me to touch me, I'm going to fight you. Like she doesn't run and hide. She doesn't run from people, but she doesn't like them either. She's just like, no, I'm here and you are going to leave me alone or suffer the consequences. And if I go up and brush your leg, that's not an invitation to touch me.
No. Yeah. Keep your hands to yourself. Just need your jeans for a moment.
I just want to rub my face on your pants for a little bit to let the other animals know you belong to me.
In fact, I'm going to spray your cuffs.
No.
No, you know what's funny? I've been going over to this one apartment with lots of kids in it for, quite a while now.
Yes.
And like recently she's like,
your girlfriend is also there, by the way. Yeah. It's not just an apartment full of kids.
Yeah, no, they're squatters. They're just a bunch of orphans that escaped the orphanage, and
you're the man who like gives them a bit of money every week.
I
drops off some food.
Yeah, I show up with a basket, a care package, and
okay.
I maybe do their laundry.
Sure.
So no, yeah, and she's there, and like recently she's talking about, man, you know, just there's so many of us here, like all my kids and dogs and our cat. And I went, come again?
You have a cat?
You have a cat?
I've never seen this creature.
I've never seen this cat. Oh yeah, she doesn't like any people, and there are a lot of people. So.
That's true. Yeah. The place that I got Zima from was a dog and like 2 or 3 other adult cats and her kittens, and it was the whole house. The first floor and the basement was probably the same square footage as this apartment.
Right.
It was a very, very small house. And she was apparently not having fun there. So the foster care person was like, seemed rather pleased that, you know, I didn't have any other animals. Because that was also on her profile, her adoption profile was like, would prefer a place with, you know, without other animals in it. I was like, well, that's me. I don't have any other ones. So
wait, are you going to be there?
Can you get this cat her own apartment?
Yeah, and it's funny. I still love that you put me down as a reference on the adoption page, and they actually called me. Yeah. Usually people put me on as a reference. I think maybe sometimes they're lying and saying I'm using you as a reference. No, you're not. Yeah. But you actually did, and they called me and they said, "Is it going to be a safe and happy home for this cat?" And I said, "That son of a bitch is going to blow so much money on this cat."
Honestly, I haven't really spent all that much money on her. Like her cat tree is not that expensive.
Was it?
Cat tree was like $90.
Really?
That I got from my parents. The thing she's on now. I haven't really spent that much money on her. I ought to get her some more. I guess enriching toys, I suppose.
Sure. Maybe something educational.
Right. Yes. Right when I got her, I got her this thing that she tore apart in a couple of weeks. So I was just like, okay, well, I won't be buying another one of those. But yeah, I could probably get her some more engaging stuff. I keep on meaning to buy like a new little laser pointer because she's a cat. Yeah, she liked chasing that. I just keep on forgetting to do that.
Cats also really like skeet shooting.
Yeah, there we go. I'm gonna get her a good old handmade in northern Italy over and under shotgun.
Sure. Yep. Over and under shotgun. Some clay pigeons.
Some really high end clay pigeons. And
set her out on the balcony.
Yep. She'll be good to go.
And she'll go, Paul.
Former coworker of my dad's. She was a like national competition level.
Really?
trap shooter, and I'm trying to remember how much her shotgun cost. It was north of $10,000.
Really?
It was somewhere between $10,000 and $20,000. I think it was on the high end of that scale, if I remember correctly. It was a fucking expensive shotgun because it's like, I mean, that's what people use in those competitions. Is they're all handmade in Italy.
Wow.
They're practically art pieces almost, but like they're also designed to, like, you can put, how many thousands of shells through them because you're going to.
Right.
Like they're really expensive. They're extremely nice, but they're also designed to be really durable. They're not just like, fancy pieces. It's like a reasonable sports car where it's like, okay, this is nice and it's luxurious, but it can also go 200 miles an hour.
Right. Sure.
It will also put some work in. It's not all just for show.
Not like my sports car.
Yes, your sports car. But
it looks like a sports car.
It does kind of have a sporty look to it for sure.
But it is not a sports car.
It's not, no. I mean, that's just sedans these days. They all kind of look a little bit more sporty than they did. Instead of the sort of bumps and lumps that they were throughout the 80s and 90s. Everything was
sleek.
Just, God, I can't believe anyone ever thought any of those cars looked good.
What were your thoughts on the PT Cruiser?
It's an abomination against God. That car.
Yeah, and they were terrible. They looked terrible, and everything else about them was terrible.
One of my favorite quotes about the PT Cruiser.
Yeah,
I can't remember where I saw it on the internet, but it was just like, what family tragedy burdened you with that vehicle? Who died that you got stuck with that thing?
Right.
Did grandma die?
Did she die while driving your car?
Like, God, what was it you were telling? Wasn't there a radio contest you guys did sometime where the prize was a Pontiac Sunfire?
It was Pontiac Sunfire. It was a Sunfire giveaway. We gave it away over here at Minot Automotive. And it was one of the funnier. Oh no, it wasn't at Minot Automotive. It was over at Fisher Motors, which doesn't exist anymore.
So,
but
yeah, it doesn't sound familiar.
Anyway, it was huge. We hyped it. We promoted it. This is when the stations I was with became part of Clear Channel, and then Clear Channel had like some money to put into promotions like this, and so we hyped it and hyped it and hyped it, and finally the day came. We drew the name, we got the guy, we did the call, woo, we did a live remote and everything, and then he crashed the car almost instantly. Yeah.
Oh, I have driven 2 different Sunfires. Both of them got totaled.
Yeah.
Neither of them while I was driving or even present.
Right.
But yeah, it's those were a vehicle.
Yeah, they were a car.
They consumed gasoline and would get you from point A to point B
for a limited amount of time
with application of the accelerator pedal.
Right.
You could go places in them.
Or gravity.
Or gravity if it's downhill.
Right.
For sure. I haven't talked at all about my weekend yet.
Right. You went to Las Vegas.
Yes. I mean, I talked about that because we were talking about the cat, I guess.
Oh, right.
I obliquely implied I was out of town. But yes, I was in Las Vegas, Nevada.
Lots of whores and gambling.
Yep. Whores and gambling and drugs. One of those things is true.
He doesn't do drugs or gamble.
I mean, they were legal.
The whores?
It was alcohol was the drug. No,
it wasn't.
But no, it was just, I mean, it was like last year when we went to Vegas, other than the fact that it was way fucking hotter. Jesus Christ. I say this every time I go to Las Vegas or anywhere else where it's just ungodly hot. It's just like, why do human beings live in this place? And then this year, a thought occurred to me that had never occurred to me before, which is, why do you live where you live? 9 months out of the fucking year, it's so cold. For like several months, for like 3 months out of the year,
at least,
it is so cold outside that if you stay outside, you'll die.
Right.
How is that any different from a place that's so hot outside? If you stay outside, you'll die. How is that different or better? And it's like, you know what, brain, you've got a point. But then I also thought, like, yeah, but we can grow food where we live.
Right.
They can't do that shit here.
It's a desert. You know, it's funny. It means Las Vegas means the plains.
Probably
something like that.
That sounds linguistically. That sounds like it would work.
Right. Which means that's definitely the desert. I mean, I guess deserts can be plains.
A plain, as in, it is flat, and it is, at least between all the mountains, there is a lot of flat ground.
Right.
That's just the whole Great Basin. Really, is just like mountain, and everything between the mountains is perfectly flat. Right. It's fucking weird.
It is weird. Yeah, when I flew there a week ago, I was there. When we got to Las Vegas, it was hot then. It wasn't as hot as when you were there, but it was so hot that the air kind of gave out when we got close to town, and the plane just dropped. It kept dropping, and somebody was holding my hand, almost broke all the bones in my hand. Yeah, I
was by myself for both flights, so I just had a complete stranger next to me,
holding your hand.
Yeah, holding my hand.
Well, yeah, it was funny because while you were there, it was Jeff and I in the office where we're looking at the office TV, and then like national news is on, and they're like, "Ooh, Las Vegas, Nevada is in the news of where it's just so hot it's gonna kill everybody." And Jeff and I like, or Kayle.
Yeah. I mean, it wasn't like it honestly wasn't too bad, mostly just because we weren't really going out at all. Right. The only thing we went out to do was we went out to eat one night because it was the birthday of one of the people that was with us. It was her birthday on Wednesday. And so on Friday night, we went out to celebrate with a dinner at this place called Esther's. We had to, it was very small. The restaurant overall was very small, and so there was no waiting place on the inside. There was kind of, but it was really cramped, and there were already people there waiting. So we had to wait in the alleyway nearby, which thankfully provided some shade. But so we waited in the alleyway probably for only like 15 minutes. Sure. So that wasn't the worst thing in the world. I don't think it was even that long. It just felt like longer because it was 111 degrees. But then we get inside and we get led through the back and out onto a covered porch.
Here, go back outside.
I mean, there were fans. They had misters going. So the temperature was okay. But I don't know if it was the misters or if it was just because we were now like in a back alley. Like it was a covered porch, but off the back of the building, you know, and by like a back alley with some other buildings. I don't know if it was the misters or if it was the presence of something else nearby. There was a faint smell of sewage the entire time.
Of course.
And that put a little bit of a damper on what was otherwise a very good meal.
It was Italian, right?
Yeah.
Esther's was?
Yeah.
The odds are not bad that that restaurant was supplied by my brother.
I don't know. What does your brother do?
He supplies Italian restaurants in Las Vegas.
Wow. I never would have guessed by your response. I thought maybe you'd be like
he's a professional tennis player.
It was one of those like corporate responses of like, oh, he's a food systems management expert or something like that. It was like, no, just that's
what he does. Yeah. Just very specifically what he does.
That's entirely possible. I don't know.
Yeah.
But so yeah, that the whole sewage thing put a little bit of a damper on the experience, in addition to it being outside and being quite hot, although the wait staff did a very good job of keeping us supplied with cool water. So
for some reason, I started the story before you finished the sentence. I'm picturing them coming out with squirt bottles.
No, they were very good about keeping us hydrated. So
staying cool. Just blast you in the face.
Not even the mist setting. It's the beam, like we're disciplining a cat. But yeah, I should, by the way, count myself very lucky. Compared to my friend's boyfriend who was there with us. He lives in Atlanta, and he was going to fly home on Monday on Delta Airlines. And if you've really read through the news lately, you might have heard about this already, that there was a Delta Airlines flight to Atlanta on Monday afternoon that was delayed repeatedly while people were on the plane, on the tarmac without the engines on. And they didn't let people off the plane until 5 people had passed out from heat exhaustion and several people had soiled themselves. What the fuck, Delta? What the fuck? His name is Ford. He didn't get back to Atlanta until 8 p.m. Last night. The original flight was on Monday. That got canceled after being delayed for so long that people almost died. And then they were supposed to be that flight was supposed to be rescheduled to 7 a.m. the next morning. That got delayed and canceled. And so he didn't get back home until 8 last night.
We're Delta Airlines,
and life is a fucking nightmare. Jesus Christ! Like my flight got it didn't get delayed, but it was late to the gate. Like boarding was supposed to be at 7:15, and we didn't board till 7:50.
Yeah, and
then we didn't take off till probably about 9.
Ooh.
But they had the running engine on, which is something that it has a different name, I believe, but essentially what it is, something that I didn't really know existed, is that passenger jets and most jets in general actually have like a secondary turbine. Like there's the main propulsion engines, and then they have a little jet turbine whose only job is to provide power to the aircraft.
To generate, it's a generator.
Yeah, it generates electricity. It does still need exhaust, so that's the little butthole that you see at the end of the fuselage of passenger jets. That is the exhaust for the jet turbine that just powers the plane.
So your plane can fart.
So the plane can fart.
Right.
But of course it's a jet engine, so it requires fuel. So airlines, being as money grubbing as they possibly can be, turn that shit off if the plane's not moving or they think they don't need it on. I don't know what in God's name told them that they didn't need it on when it was over 100 degrees and you're in a metal can on top of a black surface in the middle of one of the hottest places in the continental United States. Yeah.
Sorry, Ford. Sorry, so you had that experience.
I am very thankful that did not happen to me. And boy, that sounded like it sucked so bad.
Yeah.
But you know what doesn't suck?
Vendetta.
Vendetta. Yeah. Vendetta is a pretty fucking cool band.
They are.
So Vendetta is a German thrash metal band, or a progressive thrash metal band. And that's honestly about the limit of my knowledge of them.
That's a lot of people's knowledge is fairly limited.
They don't really, they don't have a particularly large profile.
Right. They don't.
Is the vibe that I kind of get. Just from a cursory look over their career. Like they showed up, they made some cool albums, then they sort of deactivated and
for 17 years.
like a lot of thrash metal bands did. There's quite a few thrash metal bands that went through just hibernated throughout the late 80s and through the 90s.
Right.
And then in the 2000s, they're like, all right, grunge is dead. We can come back out. But yeah, that's kind of the limit to my knowledge and practically the limit of what I could easily find about them without getting into like a really detailed biography of the band that I just didn't have the patience or time to read.
If you look, all their biography, like their Wikipedia or any reviews.
Yeah, their Wikipedia is very short.
Yeah. There's nothing there.
But what do you know about the band?
I know very little. This is an album that I got when it was new in 1988.
Okay.
And this was another Columbia House deal. It was where I'd signed up and
they sent you an album.
They sent me an album. I'm like, what the? I've never heard of this. I don't know what this is. And it was back in the day when, obviously there was no internet.
Yeah.
So, and they didn't have any other their albums. And story. They only made 2 albums at first in that first round.
Go and Live, Stay and Die, and Brain Damage.
Right.
87 and 88, and then nothing till 2007.
Yeah.
Do you know anything about that first album?
No, I could never find it. I never was able to find. I guess I could look now that it's the digital age.
Yeah, it's probably available digitally somewhere.
Right. I'd like to hear it. Everybody that I've talked to, and some people who are talking about their newer albums. The newer albums,
not so great.
They're kind of meh. The review that I read of the new one, Black as Coal,
okay,
is they said, of the 3 new albums of the new millennium, this is the better one.
Okay,
so I want to give it a listen.
Or the 4 new albums.
Is it 4?
Yeah, there's Hate in 2007, Feed the Extermination in 2011, The Fifth in 2017, and Black as Coal in 2023.
Right. Right. 4.
4 newer albums. But yeah, it's interesting, like bands like this. I mean, like we've talked about, I feel like we've talked about so many bands like this that took that hiatus, and that original run is always like shorter than you think it would be, even for some bands that are like higher in profile. That original run of albums, like from, usually from somewhere around 1985 to 1990, there's like, 2 or 3 albums, but they're like this big high profile band because the field wasn't very big back then. You could be a high profile band and only make, 3 albums or whatever, because there were only so many bands.
Right, there were 6.
There
were 6 bands.
And everybody got their own one.
Yeah.
Everybody got a rock in the band. And you were happy with the rock. But yeah, I mean, now just any kind of music, not just metal, every kind of music is very saturated because everyone can make, everyone can make it.
And it's available to everybody else.
Yeah. I mean, and everyone's basically, since instruments, like higher quality and more complicated instruments became more affordable to general people, throughout the last, couple centuries, anyone can make music. Now anyone can hear the music you make. That's the biggest thing that's changed, because I feel like if the internet existed in 1924 or whatever, everyone the market would have been deeply oversaturated with everyone's attempt at making some ragtime music or whatever. Here's some bedroom ragtime music that someone made.
You mean like it was made in a bedroom?
It was made in a bedroom.
I was gonna say ragtime for the bedroom. Wow, I'd like to hear what that sounds like. Sexy ragtime.
Sexy ragtime.
Okay,
get on it, internet. Yeah, not like nowadays. Anyone can make music, put it on the internet, and anyone can hear it, and then sometimes it really takes off, sometimes it doesn't. That's how it goes. I didn't do a whole lot of searching about this album to find out like how well regarded it was at the time. Do you understand?
Yeah, it was actually very well regarded. It was received very well.
I think it deserves that because I really dig this record. I really like this. I think part of that is definitely the sort of like progressive edge that they have to their music. It's just what I like. I don't know. It's whenever I hear something that's a little bit weird, a little bit off kilter, some weird time signatures, some interesting choices, I'm just like, oh, I like this a little bit more.
I mean, even the really weird shit like Love Song, that's the 1 minute long.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that one's really that one's weirdly short.
Yeah, it's weirdly short, but I think rightly so. I think they were doing an experiment. They're throwing some interesting keyboard stuff in there.
Well, and then you get into Fade into Insanity, which is just
an instrumental.
Oh my god,
like a 7-minute instrumental.
That song is awesome.
Yeah, it is.
That song is great. What is the little that there's like a song that they play in there that's like like a classical or like even religious in Fade into Insanity. There's like a chord progression in there that's like from a thing.
I don't
remember if it's like a Christmas song or something like that, but there is like a little thing in there that I feel like they just put in there as just like, oh, hey, that sounds kind of like that. Fuck it. We could just put it in there. It's classical music.
Well, it's public domain.
Yeah. And it's like they just do that trick one little time and then move on with the song.
Right.
But yeah, this long instrumental song that really does some cool stuff. I mean, I made that Pink Floyd reference at the start of the episode because Brain Damage,
right?
A famous Pink Floyd song. But like these guys, yeah, they have a progressive. They have some prog cred.
Yeah,
I think. Would you say this album slaps?
Yeah. Oh, heck yeah.
Oh yeah, this album really slaps. I really like the guitar work on this. I find thrash for me tends to be a little hit or miss on whether or not like I really like the guitar. The riffage on this I found to be really engaging. There's some would the term be double picked? There's a lot of like kind of double picked stuff going on here.
I mean that's sort of meat and potatoes for thrash. Double picks, but
it's less chuggy,
right?
If you know what I'm saying, like it's a bit more shreddy and a bit less chuggy. Does that make sense?
Sure.
Do you get where I'm coming from?
I love shreddies.
Because like there's some chuggier thrash metal. Like what was it we listened to a couple weeks ago?
Are you talking about oh my God, Heathen?
Yeah, Heathen. Like the new Heathen record, like that didn't quite appeal to me quite as much. Like it just felt a little too chuggy to me. It didn't feel quite playful enough. It didn't have the right energy for me. And there's some older thrash metal albums that we've listened to. Ow! I was trying to get a cat off my lap, and she did it in the most like
the cat
unpleasant way possible. Maybe she didn't step on my balls, so.
You had to say that out loud.
She does it a lot. She doesn't care. Anyway, yeah, some of the like I like it when there's some playfulness or like a bit of things feel a bit looser, you know. I like my thrash when things feel a bit more DIY, I guess is the vibe I kind of feel. Not that, I mean, especially depending upon the time period, thrash was very produced.
Right, in the late 90s.
Yeah, it wasn't punk. I mean, it wasn't like punk rock in the sense of just like, we're going to put a microphone on this and we're all going to yell really, really loud. Like there was, some craft and some effort into producing.
Yeah.
Like in the early days of thrash.
Yeah, there was a lot of that.
But I don't think that was the case with this album.
That was not, no.
No. What's your favorite song on the album?
I mean, I love the opening track, War.
Yes.
That one gets stuck in my head an awful lot, but I also really love Fade into Insanity. And
Fade into Insanity is very good.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to say the title track.
Yeah?
I really like the title track. Was there a different singer on that, or was he just doing a completely different technique?
He was just doing a different voice.
Singing different.
Yep.
Like it sounds like a completely different guy. I was listening to that. I was like, is there a guest vocalist on this or something? Like who is this guy that sounds different all of a sudden? I really like Brain Damage. I feel like it's probably, other than like Fade into Insanity, which is all instrumental, I feel like Brain Damage is probably one of the proggier songs on the record, and maybe that's why I enjoy it so much. But I really liked this. I really liked this record. What kind of metal would you, OJ, bestow upon this album, Brain Damage by Vendetta, like Maz Kanata to Chewbacca at the end of the 2019 film Star Wars Episode 9, The Rise of Skywalker, directed by J.J. Abrams?
Sure.
I feel like that's the longest I've ever gone.
That is the longest you've ever gone. I wasn't sure if you were going to fall out of your chair. I would give this a gold. I like this.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I agree with you. I think it's a gold for me as well. There was no moment while I was listening to this album where I went, God, could this song just be over? Like that happens to me. Even some albums that otherwise I really like on occasion,
right,
there will be songs where I'm just like, God, just get it over with. I don't want to listen to this anymore. But for the integrity of like listening to an album for this podcast, I force myself to sit through it unless I've listened through it several times before. And I'm like, I know what this is. I don't need to listen to it again. But yeah, I listened to this album twice all the way through, and both times it just went real smooth. There was never a time where I was just like, stop it, do something else. No. So yeah, I think that's a gold for me.
Yeah.
I think that's a gold. As is per usual, I don't know what I want to talk about next week because also I haven't thought about it at all because it's been my brain is mush.
I know what my next one's going to be eventually.
Okay. So yeah, I don't know what I want to talk about next week.
Okay, we'll think about it
when your brain is going to be mush,
right?
Because you are going to be out at the North Dakota State Fair.
Oh, right.
That's next week.
Starts on Friday.
Yeah, buddy. It's the fun time. So yeah.
I mean, okay, yay!
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. Yay! I mean. There are elements that I love about it.
Oh, of course.
And then there's a lot of elements that I really don't love about it.
It's kind of like a music festival, right?
Right.
Like an outdoor music festival. For me, summers when I was in college, go to Warped Tour.
Sure.
Right. Always had a great time. But in the moment while you're there and you're not actively standing watching a concert, it's fucking miserable. It's there's things that I love about it. There's things that I hate about it. And
but you still went.
And then when you're done, you're like, yeah, I'm glad I did that.
Sure.
So
yeah, I do that after the fair every year. When the fair's done, I'm glad I got to go to the fair. It was fun being there every day. And we're not there that long. We get there at 2. We're done at 6.
Exactly. So it's 4 hours. A little bit of setup, a little bit of takedown.
I'm actually going to go to a concert Friday.
Oh, are you going to who's Friday? Who's Friday?
She got us tickets to go see Ludacris and T-Pain.
Yeah, honestly,
it's going to be a great show.
I would go.
Yeah,
I'd be interested to see that.
Yeah, what's that going to be like?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I know T-Pain is like genuinely a very good singer.
He is. Yeah. It was weird. We always thought of him. Oh, he uses auto-tune or whatever, and then
no, he just uses that for texture.
Right.
The man's got the chops. But anyway, yeah. Next week, I'll Ludacris and T-Pain.
Yeah,
that's what we're gonna do next week,
dude. If you brought either a Ludacris or a T-Pain album, we'd be like, hey, we can talk about that. I'm cool.
T-Pain did do, I think, a War Pigs cover really recently. He did a cover of War Pigs by Black Sabbath really recently, and it was actually pretty cool. It was pretty like it was fucking weird. Like it wasn't just like, oh, here's T-Pain singing along to War Pigs. They went fucking wild with it. Like,
really,
it's bizarre almost. Like it's listenable, but it's like surprisingly kind of experimental sort of sounding.
All right.
For just being a Black Sabbath cover.
I told you about the Girl Scout office in Minot that no longer exists now, but they had a poster. It was like inspirational phrases. It was just like artfully done. It was just different varying sizes of font and everthing like that. This is Girl Scouts, and they had like, be true to yourself, love and all that. And the one just somewhere in the background was, no more war pigs have the power. What?
Why is that there? You just keep digging deeper, and it's just like, dismantle the state.
Yeah.
Crush the bourgeoisie.
Yeah.
Like
the proletariat.
Yeah. Like you just start digging deeper, and it's just, what the fuck? I didn't know this is what Girl Scouts was about. That's awesome.
Marxist Girl Scouting.
Suddenly you're looking around and says, how did I miss all these Che Guevara portraits? What the fuck? There's Marx?
Yeah.
There's can't remember the other German guy's name.
The other German guy?
Yeah, the Marx's buddy. who had the
Trotsky?
No. He was of the same era as Marx. He had a giant fucking Engels.
Oh, right. Yeah.
He had the biggest mustache I've ever seen.
Yeah. Laura Engels had such a big...
Laura Engels.
Such a big
famous communist Laura Engels. All right. We've...
Her little commune on the prairie.
That was just North Dakota in the early 1900s.
Yeah, that's not wrong.
That's not I'm not even joking.
Yeah.
Okay, not communist, but definitely socialist in the early 1900s. Jesus Christ.
All right.
We're getting to the end of the episode. So thank you very much for listening to this episode of the Bronze Metalist Podcast. If you'd like to hear more episodes, why don't you go ahead and subscribe to our feed on whatever it is you're using to listen to us right now, and go ahead and follow our pages on Facebook or Twitter, and we post episode links there if that's how you would prefer to find out when new episodes get released. Or, like I said, just subscribe to our feed on whatever it is you use to listen to us. Until you hear from us next time, thanks for listening to the Bronze Medalist Podcast. I'm Kayle.
I'm OJ. Congratulations.